Good day, everyone. We are back with Creatives Among Us, and I have the privilege of interviewing Mr. Keithroy Benjamin, and your expertise is culinary arts.
Yeah.
And so, of course, with this particular programming, we're looking to highlight the individuals who have really and truly contributed to our culture, or who have impacted our culture, and oftentimes aren't exactly recognized. And so, we've picked a few individuals who we think are absolutely outstanding, and you are among the unsung greats.
Thank you.
And that's a privilege. And so everybody knows food is essential to life.
Yes.
And if you're anything like me, you absolutely love food. So what exactly was your inspiration into getting involved in culinary arts?
Well, I grew up in a family that loved food.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, Sarah Ann Elizabeth Green, was a cross between Irish peoples and Dominican Amerindian, primarily the Caribs.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was an excellent cook, not necessarily having the formal training as we would see today, but they were excellent cooks. And so our home was everybody's home in the community where food was always there. From very early, my mother taught me to cook. I was about 8 years of age when I started to cook for a family of 11.
Do you remember that first dish?
It was rice and fish.
Simple and basic.
Yeah.
And so when we're looking at your family now, you mentioned the fact that, particularly from your grandmother's perspective, she was Dominican, there was a mixture of Irish.
Yeah.
So do you think that sort of multicultural mix, which really and truly is part of the history and story of the Caribbean,
correct,
would have fed into not only her style of cooking, but also a lot of the different ingredients and seasonings and so on that she would have used and would eventually taught you guys to use as well?
All of this came out of necessity, the mother of all inventions. If you look at back in the day, they did not have that type of setting that we have now, where there is vast quantities of imported raw material, raw ingredients, raw foods and stuff like that. So basically, what obtained was what they had. So it was the farm, the ground, as they would call it, the ground.
And whatever anybody else would grow that you can buy.
Right, because back in those days, after the abolition of slavery and so on, people generally would have moved away from the estates and established small, close-knit communities, villages. And the way they were sustained then was bartering, exchange of goods and what they had. So all of this was utilized to provide and prepare specific meals. And so that gave impetus to the greatness of the culinary skills and arts.
If we were to go back to your time growing up in Antigua, growing up in the eastern part of Antigua, even better, Param, what were some of the basic dishes that you found were common in that time?
Well, there was a lot of pepper pot.
Really?
Plenty pepper pot and fungi.
Oh, wow.
To the extent where those would have become my favorite foods. My mother said, when you are preparing pepper pot, the only thing in the pepper pot that is supposed to put your mouth, you feel something extra, is the meat and the dumpling, not the vegetables. In other words, the vegetables are to be properly cooked and mashed. That's the way I know it was done. They will take all of the vegetables from the pot, the water, put it in a bowl, and use the vegetable masher, what do you call that? Well, the vegetable masher, and mash that. Fine. And you get a nice texture. When you add the dumplings, it sort of thickens it. You know, I edit up. It's really the correct language is Edos, but I will say in the local parlance, Eddie top.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is that green top portion of the Edo. And was utilized as part of the making of pepper pot. So we had like spinach. A lot of the spinach that we used back then was in the wild. Very few
Not
persons
store
grew
bought or anything.
No.
You go, you find
in the
it.
wild, in the cane field, in the fields where we fed the animals and so on. You'll find a lot. Coffee cucumber. Yeah?
Yeah. The little thingy with the spikes on
Right.
it. Yeah, the first time I actually saw it was when I was a teacher at Glanville. I never seen it on this side of the island before. Do you think that Antigua, as a peculiar and unique place, has its own style or flavor of food?
Every society, every nation, every people throughout the world would think that they are the best in whatever they do, and particularly in the area of the culinary arts. But I'm going to make a very bold statement. It's a bombshell. Antigua and Antiguans are the best. Nobody in the world can touch we. I've traveled. I've been to most of the Caribbean islands, from Trinidad in the south, all the way up to Puerto Rico, San Juan. And I would have gone to various restaurants, would have eaten at local homes. There's no one. Again, if you go back to our national dish, and I have a very serious statement to make where that is concerned, even now. I'm asking the powers that be, please, as it relates to our national dish and our culture, we have got to find a way to highlight that even more. I'm a taxi operator, taxi service ambassador. That's the new name they give us. And I would have had the good opportunity and fortune to speak to guests when I'm taking them to the hotels and so on. And I would tell them about our national dish. Where can I go to find that?
Because
on a daily basis,
the hotels don't serve it.
Even the locals.
And you have to go to certain places, right? You have to go to certain places here, and you might have to go on a certain day, at a certain time, in a certain space. So there's a lot of certains in order for you to get it.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I have some really good friends who are chefs, and they have really developed the craft, the art of good cooking, serious good cooking, right? What I'm saying to these guys, wherever your establishments are,
push Antiguan food.
Push the local and the national dish some more. I must be able to say to some guests, if I'm taking them on a tour, I'm taking them to the hotel, let's go to Two's restaurant and get some. Sometimes when I'm telling them what this is like, what the meal is like, they're actually telling me we start feel hungry already, just by me explaining the process, the taste and all of that. They're getting hungry. So wouldn't it be so nice if I were able to take them to a restaurant and immediately get a sample of this?
Because when you look at the whole aspect of tourism is based on partial experiences. I get to experience something, taste something, see something, smell something that I'm not going to get where I'm from.
Right.
So do you think we can use food as a way to preserve our genuine Antiguan and Barbudan culture?
It has to happen. It must happen. If we're going to be highlighting who we are, what makes us tick, food, when we speak culture properly defined includes the culinary arts. There's no way around it. I'm more specific in the area of chacha dumpling, right? So that's my expertise there.
What exactly is it? Because even we were talking about it earlier before we came in to do the whole presentation. When I heard the term chacha dumpling, I was like, in Antigua, I was like, what are they?
Okay, cashew dumpling is essentially and primarily cornmeal, right? The same thing you use to make fungi, or corn pudding, or cornbread. Little flour to bind it. Coconut, which is the main ingredient. If you don't have any coconut in the name, cha-cha. It's a batter, like you're mixing a cake, and I use the banana leaves. We utilize the coal pot, the clay pot from Seaver Farm. Again, Antigua's and the yaba.
Culture has to be passed down.
Yeah.
It has to be a situation where every generation is saying, this is our culture, this is what is unique about us.
Yeah.
This is what is unique about Antigua and Barbuda, which I'm of the opinion is one of the greatest places on earth. What would be your final encouragement to young people who say, I want to be a part of Antigua's culture, I want to play a crucial role when it comes to preserving our culinary style? What would be your encouragement to them?
I've tried to encourage my children. So if anybody else wants to learn, I will teach them. Mm-hmm. You understand? Because I think it is important to pass it on. And I am not afraid to be bettered by anyone. I'm not afraid. I keep saying to people, whenever I open my mouth, whatever I do, I must be teaching somebody else something. If they come better than me, so let it be.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting a plug for my teachers here. And you're a teacher.
Go ahead. It's okay.
You're a teacher.
It's okay. I'm an undefeated civil servant.
I think teachers are the best people in the whole world. Mm-hmm. Teachers make everybody else. Might I say grossly underpaid? I'm not afraid to speak. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. Educators must look at education in a more structured manner. Or not all would be
academic.
Culinary arts or the skills must be taught. Mm-hmm. And governments, the Ministry of Education, the Department of Education, whoever, must look at a new structure going forward so that our children are properly taught, educated, and become more rounded individuals.
Especially when it comes to culture.
Yes.
The whole aspect of this program is really and truly to highlight those individuals who've made outstanding contributions to culture. Because we know the big names, but we often don't see the smaller people who are doing great things. And so it was really amazing having you. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing everything that you will do in the area of culinary arts.
So I'm delighted to be here with you guys to share with the nation in the area of culture. And I really look forward to doing what I'm able to do, even before I leave the stage, to ensure that this aspect of our culture is carried on into the future.
We gather to celebrate the contributions of some of our amazing creatives. The Department of Culture felt it was only fitting to shine a light on the immense talents of those who work behind the scenes, yet contribute so richly to our cultural landscape. We hope that this display not only gives you a glimpse into the extraordinary creativity of our nation, but also ignites a deeper appreciation for the arts and its role in shaping our identity as a people.
Codringtons were the common proprietor of Barbuda and Betting Soup.
I'm hoping in 2025 to go back into the hotels, this time as a solo artist.
Keithroy Benjamin, she calls it Tatra. It sounds quite British, if you please.
But the point about it, it looks like lampshade. So I call it lampshade.
I enjoy painting to inspire.
And let's give a warm round of applause to the creatives among us.